About a year ago, I made a response to a guy called Kes Gaming, who made a video trying to argue that using unintended game mechanics doesn't break the intended experience of a given game, alongside also claiming how you should hate certain mechanics just because he doesn't like them. So naturally, I made a video explaining how it's okay to use any given mechanic that a game was built around, provided that you want to get the intended experience, of course. And keep that in mind. Literally the main argument was that using free look to unintentionally cheese encounters in Doom somehow doesn't break the intended experience.
If you want to actually play it properly.
So just keep this part in mind throughout the whole thing because, well, upon seeing a Doom Elitist being criticized, the professional victims from Twitter got big mad and they tried to deflect criticism by turning Kestis into some imaginary victim, and then when called out, proceeded to play the victim they themselves, while claiming that arguing in favor of respecting the original intention of the map maker makes you a literal Nazi. That's right, man. If you recommend playing games by their intended rules, you just want to start the Fifth Reich and cause 1894 by George Floyd, according to these retards. Yeah, and it's funny too, because they always try to label anyone who disagrees with them as just a purist. Meanwhile, not only is that label just blatantly incorrect in 90% of cases, and as such only used as a pathetic attempt to deflect criticism or silence the other side, like any Twitter buzzword, but they are also acting 20 times worse than the actual Doom Purists. Literally the other side of the same retarded coin, except infinitely worse in every aspect. And yes, I would know as I've had experience with both types of retards. So anyways, as I've said at the start, I made that video over a year ago, and since then, there have been a handful of GZDoom fanboys trying to cry wolf about it, but it wasn't really anything noteworthy. Until recently, when I was given an exchange so downright hysterical, I just had to make a video about it because it really is that funny, and it also really puts into perspective how these losers that just call anyone who disagrees with them filthy purists actually operate. Just so there's no delusion about these people being any better than the purists they love to complain about. So let's get right ahead and take a look at these wonderful individuals. So this guy says, "I don't think Kestis' perspective is entirely wrong, but was perhaps presented poorly." So right off the bat, he says that Kestis' take on how you should hate auto-aim is not wrong. So already we're starting off strong with the elitism. Again, it is truly amazing to me how these motherfuckers always claim that the quote-unquote purists are the ones gatekeeping, yet this dude is now here defending gatekeeping by the full definition of the word. You just love to fucking see it, and we only just fucking started. Free look is tons better in plenty of respects, and so is not using it in plenty of others. What's your fucking point? Seriously. We're not even past the first line, and already this dude is just completely unable to keep that same energy. In the edge cases where free look breaks stuff is highly minimal. Yeah, that's a complete fucking lie, and I don't even think I need to explain why. I mean shit, if a map gives you a rocket launcher or BFG, that is already going to play significantly different with free look than without, even if the map is otherwise completely flat, as you can take advantage of shooting the ground. And then when you factor in maps having verticality, I know Doom is 3D, what a fucking shocker, as well as enemy placement, or the mere presence of flying enemies alone, the map is going to play drastically different depending on whether or not you turn free look on or off, which is also why the intended setting is specified in the text file that you get alongside the map. And hell, even if you don't want to use the recommended settings, you don't have to. However, that is not the subject of the discussion, as the discussion is solely about what does and doesn't break the intended experience, and not using the intended settings does that. I really don't understand why this is such a hard concept to grasp. I then also point out the existence of comp levels because, surprise surprise, comp levels often determine whether or not free look is supposed to be used or not. And he says, "I understand." What comp levels? I just don't care. So you don't care about the setting that heavily impacts the experience in a discussion about the intended experience. Then why even fucking comment at that point? I mean shit, if you don't care and use fucking GZDoom for everything, that's entirely your own choice. But then, why are you even in this discussion in the first place when you self-admittedly don't care about the key point of the discussion? And I think we'll find an answer to that very soon. Not once have I said, oh damn, better run chocolate Doom for this map. And this is probably the most common strawman that you'll hear from these GZDoom elitists. Whenever someone gives them a recommendation, they instantly go to the absolute fucking extreme of, oh, you just want me to play on chocolate Doom. Like, it is genuinely pathetic. And again, if you don't personally care, that's one thing. But going into a discussion and dismissing all the main talking points is just entirely fucking retarded. And then I also point out the fact that if you don't care about the intended experience, then you don't have a right to an opinion when it comes to discussing any given map, or any game for that matter. You can play by your own rules, that's all well and good, but then you cannot expect to give your opinion on an experience you never had, because, surprise surprise, when you make your own rules, your experience is going to be drastically different than everyone else's, and that's just a fact. And he got really fucking pissed at that. So you say I don't have a right to an opinion if I don't agree with you? And here we have yet another great example of a strawman. It is pretty fucking obvious what I said in that message because, well, you can fucking read it. And let's face it, that's likely what he did. But he needed some way to play the victim, which he did by crying that I said ignoring the rules of a game doesn't count as playing that game. Like, oh no bro. Oh no bro. I played football by only using my hands. What do you mean I don't get an opinion on a game I never experienced? Like, seriously. This is unironically the same fucking energy as when me, Adolf, and a couple other people played Among Us with Road Bridge and he snitched on the imposter the moment he died.
It was Lynx.
He was also near me.
Yeah.
Nowhere near
It was
me.
Lynx.
Yeah?
Because Road Bridge tried to snitch after he died, I say we let Aqua win.
Nah, I already got caught.
Silence,
So,
silence, bastard.
you know what?
Silence, bastard!
I have.
No.
He has a point. I'm voting for myself.
Yes,
I already got
of course I
caught,
did.
so it's. Yup. I think we should like.
Road breach for the record.
Yes.
If you die, you're not supposed to say who it
Silence.
is.
Yes, great words.
When you die, silence, motherfucker!
What's that, guys? Me and my friends play Among Us by snitching on the imposter first thing? What do you mean we don't get a right to an opinion of an experience of playing Among Us? Like, at this point, I genuinely have to wonder if there's some book of mental retardation that these speds pull arguments from. Like, first I had some fucking dumbass in my Discord a while ago, arguing the same stupid talking points as that one communist creeper video I saw a response to. And now this dude is out here genuinely pulling a road breach, but refusing to play the game by the rules, and then being shocked that his opinion is not validated.
Nine! The dirty hairy little men things are taking my things!
And then he follows it up with the good old Christ, purists are the worst! That's right, guys, if you dare to point out the simple fact of life, that you cannot have an opinion on an experience you never had, that just makes you a purist. I mean, what can I say? I am such a purist that I'm playing an MBF WAD in the background of this video. Such a pure vanilla experience, am I right? But yeah. Now you see why I said that the label of Doom Purists means next to nothing these days, when retards like this guy use it to describe anyone that disagrees with them. And I even left him with yet another example of this, by using chess this time. And then he left the conversation for 3 months, before coming back with a genius reply, completely ignoring what the discussion is even about, once again, while trying to accuse me of strawmanning. Like, this dude let this sit rent-free in his head for 3 fucking months, and he couldn't even make a proper comeback. That is not both factually false, as it is a valid comparison since it is 1-for-1 his reaction, as well as projection considering that, well, what we've seen earlier. But we are not done yet, as this dude evidently called for some backup, or maybe they saw that Twitter smelled that another professional victim is in quote danger and came to his aid. But regardless, this dude randomly jumps in and says, yeah, the dogmatic Daus canoes, that are these purists are one step away from embodying the villains of Wolfenstein, if you get what I mean. And here we have it. If you argue in favor of respecting a game developer's intended game design, you're just Hitler, bro.
Hello, I am Adolf Hitler. I come from Deutschland. I have moved into your neighborhood last week.
Like, holy fucking shit, you honestly have to try to be this pathetic. Because simply recommending that people play the intended way, which people can, but don't have to follow, is suddenly comparable to getting a glass of juice, according to this dude here. So I said, that's right bro, if you respect the maker's intention, you are literally Hitler. Though seeing how you're acting here over simple criticism, is that maybe projection on your end? I mean, let's face it, it is a possibility. Or maybe just a severe case of brain retardation, so you know, choose your fucking poison I guess. And then this dude decided to double down. Look bro, if you enjoy adhering to certain gameplay rules, that's perfectly fine. Just wait until this dude realizes that games as a whole are just a bunch of arbitrary restrictions that we humans put on ourselves to pass the time. You disagree with some dude who spoke his mind against it, that's also fine. But you are just berating the guy or being casually dismissive when someone tries to give their 2 cents, like right here. And let me stop right there, because this dude is now downplaying this dude, completely dismissing the topic of the discussion, only to get angry at me for dismissing his irrelevant bullshit. But you see, it is perfectly fine when he does it because he's a GZDoom elitist and a professional victim from Twitter just like this guy. But when I do it to get the conversation back on topic instead of letting this dude's boyfriend derail it, that is suddenly an issue. Funny how that works. I mean, hey, I'm not the guy calling others the funny Austrian painter over video game discussions, so what do I know? I recommend you watch Doom Kids in defense of free looking Doom video to see a more mature take on the topic. Oh, and by mature you mean where he completely sucked Kestis' dick and refused to call him out on any of the blatant and factually false information he presented? Yeah, I don't think I need to explain further. Also, remember how this guy said earlier that my response was fine? Yet now he's backpedaling on that in the very same reply. You honestly have to try to be this fucking stupid. Perhaps that will help change your harsh view. Ah, you hear that guys? I am being way too harsh for simply calling a spade, but when this dude calls people n***s over literally fucking nothing, that's perfectly fine. I mean, this dude is genuinely starting to sound like a Steven Universe character at this point. I can't even imagine being this fucking pathetic, but once again, I'm not someone who thinks video game discussions turn you into n***s, so of course I wouldn't get it. And yeah, I think that's all the main talking points here. There were some more replies of this dude going in circles about how calling people n***s is perfectly fine, despite bitching at me for far less. As well as saying how recommending to play games by the rules is a dogma. Like bruh, a fucking dogma really? Or like Sugma. And it's not really worth responding to since it's just a bunch of fucking copium, as was pretty much his entire existence in this thread. So I guess the moral of the story here is, playing games by the rules is bad because it turns you into a dictator. So yeah, if anyone still wants to claim how the purists are the worst part of the Doom player base, I rest my case. Not only are the GZDoom elitists infinitely more common, but they also act far worse than any purist that I've encountered. Like seriously. The worst one was just bitching at me for using DSDA Doom. Meanwhile, this last guy in the video, yeah, I don't think I need to go over it again, so yeah, that's gonna do it for this one. Be sure to like and subscribe to boost me in the algorithm. Thank you for watching and I'll see you next time. Auf Wiedersehen!